Legendary vocalist Mary Wilson, one of the founding members of the groundbreaking R&B group The Supremes, passed away on Monday evening in her home in Las Vegas at the age of 76. She helped form the group in the 60s when she was just 15 years old, living in a Detroit housing project with her mother. She stuck with the Motown hit-making trio until the band's dissolution in 1977. Jay Schwartz, Wilson's longtime publicist, announced the singer's sudden death but did not reveal any additional information about the cause or circumstances. It's been speculated she died of natural causes in her sleep. Funeral services are expected to be private due to COVID, but there will likely be a public memorial celebrating her life sometime later this year. Gordy Jr., founder of the Motown record label, issued a statement expressing his grief and shock to hear of her passing. He called her one of the sweethearts of Motown. Mary Wilson was extremely special to me. She was a trailblazer, a diva, and will be deeply missed, Gordy wrote in his heartfelt farewell. She had plans for the near future. Just a couple of days before her passing, Wilson uploaded a YouTube video announcing she was working on solo material that she was planning to release with Universal Music. She planned on finally publishing the previously unreleased album Red Hot that she recorded back in the 70s with producer Gus Dudgeon. She posted she hoped some of the material would be out on or before her birthday, March 6th. She also vowed to post interviews that she had taken part in that dealt with the Supremes' experience with segregation in honor of Black History Month. Wilson had high visibility in 2019 when she appeared on Dancing with the Stars. That was also the year she published her fourth book, Supreme Glamour. Wilson had fully intended to spend some of this year celebrating the 60th anniversary of the Supremes, but sadly, she won't get that opportunity. Celebrities share their condolences. Questlove sent a shout-out to Mary just hours after her passing. Paul Stanley of Kiss shared via Twitter he was shocked to hear about her passing. "I was just on a Zoom call with her Wednesday. Rest in supreme peace, Mary," the rocker wrote. Along with lead vocalist Diana Ross and Florence Ballard, and later Cindy Birdsong, Wilson contributed to all 12 Supremes' #1 pop hits from 1964 to 69. During that time period, the group charted a grand total of 16 top 10 pop singles and 19 top 10 R&B singles, 6 of which went to #1. Ross might have been the trio's international superstar, and Ballard, who passed away at the age of 32, might be remembered as the group's tragic figure, but Wilson was the consistent, steady, outspoken force who stuck with the project from beginning to end. Some might view her as providing nothing more than backup vocals and support for Ross's lead work, but that's not exactly a fair assessment. She's a legend in her own right. When Ross left the group in 1970 to focus on her solo career, Wilson remained its cornerstone, as she humbly backed up a series of frontwomen for the next few years. Although the Supremes never reached the same heights they did back in the 60s, they still put out a #1 R&B hit in 1970 called Stoned Love and charted 5 songs on the Pop Top 20. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure you give it a like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And stick around for the rest of the video to find out what Mary Wilson has been up to in recent years. Behind-the-scenes drama. The group was depicted as being a tight-knit sisterhood, but that was an image that was carefully concocted by Motown to sell albums. And it was called into question when Wilson gave a rather damning depiction of Diana Ross in her memoir Dream Girl, My Life as a Supreme, published in 1986. That book is especially notable because it was the first tell-all testament written by a member of the so-called Motown family. Ross was depicted as being an excessively attention-seeking, backstabbing diva who manipulated Gordy through her sex appeal. The book opens with a tale about a time when Ross shoved Wilson aside while on stage during a filming of a Motown 25 anniversary special for NBC in 1983. But despite various things Ross had done to hurt, humiliate, and upset her over the years, Wilson wrote she still loved Ross and was proud of her. Wilson also released 2 albums of solo material and toured quite successfully as a solo act, combining elements of cabaret with her old Supremes hits. She was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1988. From the projects to riches. Wilson was born March 6, 1944 in Greenville, Mississippi. She moved quite a bit when she was young. At first, her family lived in St. Louis. Then they moved to Chicago. When she was 3, she was sent to Detroit, Michigan to live with her aunt and uncle. She grew up thinking she was actually their daughter. She didn't discover who her real parents were until she was 6, when her mom came to Detroit to live with the family. She moved several times before settling into the Brewster Douglas housing project with her mother at the age of 12. Before she was approached by Flo Ballard with the opportunity to join the trio, Wilson had previously sung in a group fronted by Aretha Franklin's sister Carolyn. Ballard also lived in the Brewster projects and had quite the reputation of being eccentric. She had an idea for a group that would essentially serve as a sister act to the all-male R&B quintet, the Primes. That group included the likes of Paul Williams and Eddie Kendricks. Both men would go on to co-found another little Motown outfit known as the Temptations. Ballard and Wilson were soon joined by Diana Ross and a 4th member named Betty McGlown, and later by her replacement Barbara Martin, to form the Primettes. They would change their name to the Supremes in 1961. The quartet first auditioned, albeit unsuccessfully, with Motown in 1961. They ended up cutting a couple of tracks with another label, Lupine, instead. Wilson even sang lead on the B-side track, Pretty Baby, but just like Ballard, she was pushed to the back by Ross. After finally signing with Motown, the group struggled for a while to find their niche. At first, they recorded covers of songs from artists like Smokey Robinson, but these early singles either failed to chart or collected dust in the vault. In 1963, Barbara Martin left the group. The trio finally started finding success when songwriters Brian and Eddie Holland and Lamont Dozier joined the team to become their primary songwriters. They reached number 2 on the R&B charts in 1963 with their track When the Love Light Starts Shining Through His Eyes. They followed that up with another chart-topping hit called Where Did Our Love Go in the summer of '64. They rivaled the Beatles. With Diana Ross in the driver's seat, the trio gave the Beatles a run for their money in terms of radio play and chart presence. Between 1964 and '67, they reached number 1 on the pop charts 8 times. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing their hit songs like Stop in the Name of Love and Baby Love. Flo Ballard was kicked out of the group in 1967. She had become increasingly unreliable, and alcoholism and substance abuse were seriously impeding her ability to be a contributing member. She was replaced by Cindy Birdsong. Gordy, who was romantically involved with Diana Ross at the time, re-established his lover's dominance over the group when he renamed them to Diana Ross and the Supremes later that year. It was clear the Supremes' days were indeed numbered when Diana Ross began her solo career in 1968. She officially announced her departure from the group in '69. The trio's parting hit, Someday We'll Be Together, dominated the R&B charts in December of that year. It proved to be the act's last chart-topping hit in the U.S. The Supremes subsequently reformed as a Vegas act, bringing in Jean Terrell, sister of heavyweight boxer Ernie Terrell, into the group as the new lead vocalist. Right off the bat, Berry Gordy actually tried to replace Terrell out with Sarita Wright, Stevie Wonder's wife, but Wilson put a stop to that plan. For the next 7 years, the Supremes put out a number of singles and albums, but never managed to reach the same heights they did when Diana Ross was in the group. They pulled the plug on the project in 1977 after a tearful farewell show in London. Wilson released her self-titled solo LP that year, but its single only managed to peak at number 95. She tried to reunite with Ross and the other surviving members of the Supremes in 2000, but unfortunately that didn't pan out either. Wilson released another album, Walk the Line, in 1992 and published 2 live DVDs in 2006 and 2009. She released her last single, Time to Move On, in 2015, which ended up charting at number 23 on the Billboard Dance Chart. Hopefully, you've enjoyed paying your respects to Mary Wilson with us. It's heartbreaking she didn't get the opportunity to release that new material as she had planned. No doubt it will be published posthumously, but it's a shame she won't have the chance to personally present it to the world. Which Supreme song do you enjoy more? Keep Me Hangin' On or Love Child? Let us know in the comments section below. And be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to FactsVerse. Click the bell icon to stay updated of all our latest content.